Welcome back to Extra Shot, the Upshots weekly pod spilling the funniest stories in sport. On the pod today, David Coote is back on the naughty step, Mauro Icardi is bonking his barrister, and meet the world champ boxer who's kidnapping nerds to carry out his criminal schemes. Very excited about that last story. I'm Jack Rivlin. Zach Sweeney-Lynch is here.
Hello, Jack.
Hello.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, good to be back on these famous sofas.
Yep. After 1 week away.
Were we away? Were you away?
I was away. I was in Cornwall. You do know this.
But were you not on the episode?
Oh, no, I was here. I don't know why. So nice to be back. Yeah.
Well, that's unprofessional.
Yeah. No, I'm always here, pretty much.
This is our lives. I am pleased to report that there has been a further development in the scandal surrounding David Coote, the referee. So unless you've been living under a rock, you will know that Coote was caught. He slagged off Jurgen Klopp, called him a cunt, and then there were these videos of him doing coke. But now someone has come forward with further dirt on him. So Coote, basically, he was reffing the Leeds v West Brom game in the Championship, and the day before he was chatting to a fan he met online. I won't dig too much into the context of that meeting. Anyway, apparently there's this exchange that the guy has shared, which shows Coote. Basically, the guy says, "Oh, are you going to book Alioski, the Leeds fullback? Book him." And Coote's sort of like, "Haha, yeah." And then the guy says, "Haha, well, I'm off to back it in the morning, so don't let me down." The next evening, Leeds play West Brom, and Alioski is booked in the 18th minute by David Coote.
18th minute, he didn't mess around.
Yeah, it was Leeds' only yellow card in the game. However, in his defence, it was a yellow. It was a bad challenge. Football experts agree, apparently.
Okay.
Not sure who those experts are.
Probably David Coote's boss.
Yeah. In fairness, I think it was a yellow. But the next day, David Coote texted this guy saying, "What a day yesterday. I hope you backed as discussed," which does not look great.
That is pretty incriminating. I mean, you could say that he'd reffed Alioski before and he knew that he was a bit of a dirty player and that he was likely to get a yellow card. But still, if you're a ref, just don't text people things like that.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously the possible crime would be match fixing, right? The idea would be that he booked Alioski to help this guy he met online.
I think David Coote needs to review some of his friends.
Yeah.
This is the third mate of his that has leaked videos.
I actually think it's fourth.
Online.
I think there was another one, but it was quite tame stuff.
Yeah,
because there was the video of him doing coke, there was the Jurgen Klopp thing, and then there was also this story that he was organising a drugs party.
Oh yeah, that one too.
Which surely wasn't the words that he was using. So that's three pals, as the Sun called them. All these stories have been in the Sun, so let's not query that source.
I guess that's what happens when you meet your pals online.
Yeah, I question whether they are pals, if that's what the online meeting is about. But
what you
just
think?
A feeling.
Yeah,
I just think the unspoken subtext of some of this stuff is that he's I don't know.
He's meeting these people online.
Yeah, it's flirtatious, let's say. Yeah. Okay. Personally, I think that. I just feel like you can tell. But yeah, I agree. Like the Sun article again.
Is that how you flirt with people online? Speculating about whether Alioski will get a yellow card if he leaves.
And then I invite them to drugs parties. Yeah, that's pretty much. That's how I met my wife.
And then you send them videos of you doing lines of gear in a hotel room on your own.
The rest is history. Lived happily ever after. Yeah, the Sun article repeatedly refers to the guy as a pal, and they're always concerned. Their quotes always end with "I'm revealing this because David Coote needs help, not because the Sun bunged me 500 quid to stitch him up." But obviously, this one's actually a bit more serious, isn't it? Because all the other ones are just his personal life. Whereas this one's is he fixing? For what it's worth, I think based on the evidence, he's not.
So you think it's just banter?
I mean, he literally used that he's released a statement and he has said that it was just banter.
Yeah.
The old just banter defence, recognised in English law. And then he's basically said look, he doesn't address it directly, but he just says I've never compromised my integrity and I would always ref fairly. And it was a yellow card. So... Yeah. I think it's an unhappy coincidence that looks badly. And I think the next day when he's hope you backed him, he's just being well, you said you were hoping for an Alioski yellow and you got lucky. But yeah, don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You could also say that Alioski getting himself booked with a bad challenge got David Coote out of it, really, because it sort of gave him no choice, and it gave him a great justification to justify his match fixing.
Because he was going to book him in the 70th minute for time wasting. Really harsh,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit like those Lucas Paqueta yellow cards where he just like, for absolutely no reason, just
flies in.
Just like flies into tackles.
Are you suggesting that Ezgen Alioski is also implicated?
I don't think Alioski's got anything to do with it, no, but...
Yeah, if you were going to fix a match, it must be an absolute result when the thing you were going to do is just like they just hand it to you.
Yeah.
However, I don't think he's match fixing, but yeah, David Coote he's in a bit of a pickle now.
Yeah, it's what's he up to at the moment, do you reckon? He's just hiding out and
drafting statements every week, fielding calls from the Sun. Did you see Jamie Vardy is being investigated by the FA because apparently he made a comment about Coote before Leicester's game on the weekend with Chelsea to the referee? I can't remember who the ref that. I don't know what he said, but apparently he's now like at risk of getting.
That's
a ban.
very Jamie Vardy.
Do you think he was just like, I told you that bloke was fucking dodgy?
I don't know. I can imagine it's just a bit of banter from.
Yeah, it's all banter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Moving on, Pep is now winless in 6 games. Obviously, it looked like City were going to finally end their terrible run when they went 3-0 up against Feyenoord, but having been 3-0 up in the 75th minute, they chucked it away and drew 3-3. So they're a real mess.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty terrible result considering where they were. It would have been so good if they'd lost 4-3.
Fully lost. It's almost as good.
Yeah, but just to continue the 6 game, to make it a 6 game.
Now you have to call it a winless run.
Yeah.
Also, did you see the state of Pep afterwards?
I did.
He's got
scratched up his face.
Yeah, he's been like clawing at himself. So he gave a press conference afterwards and he's got like scratches, like bleeding scratches on like the bridge of his nose and then like on his head.
It looks like they've been having like a cat fight in the dressing room.
Or like babies do that to themselves, don't they? Because he's bald, he does look a bit more like a baby. But he hasn't properly addressed it. They asked what he's doing and he was like, oh, I wanted to harm myself, kind of half jokingly saying like, I'm so frustrated with our form.
Hi Pep, sorry to go off topic, but you've got a cut and apparently some others.
Yeah, with my finger here, with my nail.
That's fine.
I want to harm myself, yeah. Good night.
It'll be okay.
Yeah,
but I think that is basically what's gone on, isn't it? He's just so intense. He's like,
it's like trying to tear his hair out, and there's nothing to tear out. So.
With apologies to members of the bald community for that joke. He's obviously really feeling the stress, and it's obviously unlikely to happen, but I do think there's an outside chance of him not making it to
the season.
Well, not the end of the contract extension or the end of the season. So does anyone know how I can bet on Pep to lose his job before the end of the season? Because whenever I try and bet on manager sackings, you can only bet who's next in the sack race.
Yeah.
So at the moment, the favourite is
Russell
Martin, and like probably Lopetegui after that. But does anyone know how I can back Pep to be sacked before the end of the season? It'll be long odds. I don't think it's likely, but it might be quite a fun bet. Anyway,
is this you angling for a Paddy Power sponsorship deal?
And if any bookmakers are listening, no, that's not a sponsored item. I just want to know. Just want to lose some money. Anyway, knowing Pep, there are going to be some extremely exotic tactical responses because City could not have a bigger game next. They're playing Liverpool on the weekend, which I wouldn't call it must win, but if Liverpool win that, they're 11 points clear of them. So, typically when Pep's backed into a corner, he does come up with something quite unusual. So maybe he's going to drop Ederson for Scott Carson, who's still in the squad, by the way.
That would be great.
Yeah, or maybe Oscar Bob comes in a sweeper role.
Scott Carson up front. That could really put the cat amongst the pigeons.
Quite tall, isn't he?
Yeah, wasn't there? Was it Stuart Pearce who sent David James on up front one time?
It was a complete disaster. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they had another striker on the bench.
Yeah, no, I think it was just like, fuck it, let's try. Oh, yeah. It was just like a roll of the dice.
Darius Wissel was just sat there, what the fuck?
He's very tall, David James. To be fair, City's problem's mainly at the back, so don't worry about it up front. Anyway, there is one other measure that Pep might want to try: not showering. So over in America, in college football, the Syracuse coach Fran Brown revealed after a recent defeat that he didn't shower for 2 days in order to punish himself and make himself win. We've got a clip of him talking about it here.
Honestly, I got like a ritual. Like when we lose, I ain't even getting a shower till early this morning. I just be mad. I just brush my teeth. But it's like I don't deserve soap. I don't deserve to do all that. I'm just focused on like trying to get back and trying to make sure that our players mentally understand and know that I let them down, that they didn't do it. There's a process that I follow every week, win, lose, or draw. Only thing is like my wife, I can't sleep in the bed if we lose because I ain't gonna get in the shower for that day. I'm just mad and I just sit there. I just brush my teeth. That's what I have to do so y'all won't say my breath stink, but I'm just kind of locked in at certain things, certain ways. I think you gotta earn the right to do certain things. So, winners get washed.
His poor wife, first of all, is just lying in bed next to this bloke who hasn't showered in days.
Yeah. I thought he's not allowed to sleep in the
sorry,
bed
she
when-
puts him in the other room.
Yeah.
But I feel like she's bearing the brunt of this. Does he think this is like a sort of like high performance thing?
Yeah, but like punishing himself. Didn't Neil Warnock have something about his lucky pants? That
He didn't change them if they were winning.
Well, that's he didn't change it if they're winning.
Yeah, luckily he didn't
Sort
win
of the
many.
opposite. Yeah. But also, so he's saying that he wakes up multiple times in the night. Is that just because he's like covered in sweat?
Yeah,
and
just like,
feeling really
I actually
itchy?
can't sleep now without having a shower before bed. So don't know what he's.
Do you
I'm
do
a
that
2 a day
every-
guy. And if I
really?
go to the gym,
Okay.
it's 3.
Wow, that's a lot.
What about
No
yourself?
wonder you're so glowy. I shower once a day normally in the morning.
Do you sometimes not?
Uh,
If your team Fulham lose,
if Fulham lose,
winners get washed, mate.
Yeah, which means I don't shower very often as well.
Yeah, that Syracuse guy, his "winners get washed" slogan is now they've now like printed it on loads of t-shirts. They won the next game, by the way, so he
really?
he washed.
That was after his players found out. That,
Yeah, apparently, but now they've got all this like merch with "winners get washed" on it, and they're kind of turning it into this big thing. But like, yeah, so I always wonder about this thing because I've got a couple of mates who don't shower every day, which I find mental as a 3 a day man. And I found this map online of Europe that shows you the percentage of people that shower daily in Europe. So it's in like categories. So Italy shower the most; they're more than 95%.
it's hot there.
Yeah, it's
I guess.
basically the hot countries shower more, which is
Yeah.
not that shocking. And then you get into so Spain 75 to 84%, Portugal 85 to 94%. You get a bit further north, and most of Europe, from like France and like Germany upwards, is showering less than 2/3 of people are showering daily.
Okay.
So some of those countries, presumably, it's half. I find that mental.
half of people are not showering. Yeah.
Surely
I know
everyone
there's-
showers every
there's
day.
just- there's some black spots on the map where it just says they do not have data on these countries. Which ones is it? It's like Croatia,
Oh yeah,
Serbia, is that like Slovenia, that sort of region?
yeah, that is.
Then
it's
Belarus.
above
There's
Ukraine,
no data on Belarus. Wonder why that is.
Are you suggesting they don't shower much?
Just-
Denmark,
they
by the
just
way, and
refused.
Belgium shower a bit more than their neighbours. But I just find this mental. I thought everyone showered every day.
Yeah.
Apparently, you don't need to, but
No,
I feel-
I actually for a while I didn't wash my hair for about a year.
oh yeah, I've
at
done
all,
that.
with I just washed it with water.
Yeah, and how's that
And
going for us?
Oh, really?
I get abused about my hair every day online.
Yeah.
So.
I do wash it
Yeah,
now,
same.
not every day.
That it does.
Couple
I
times a
find
week.
it at my length, it doesn't clean itself, but at a shorter length,
I'm
you
sure
can just not use
it
shampoo.
worked quite
yeah.
well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure my wife
Surprising.
agrees. She often says it smells. Much like Fran Brown's wife, who's sleeping in the spare room to get away from her sweaty husband.
Yeah.
While we're talking personal hygiene, we're doing promos for Manscaped at the moment. You know, who provide a variety of products to shave below the belt or trim below the belt, I should say. Anyway, they sent us like a selection of suggested Christmas ads. Like they sort of send you like themes, and one of them they sent it said. It was like picturing the scene. You're going back for Christmas and you don't want to like be scruffy. It was like, don't be that family member who shows up solo and scruffy to yet another holiday gathering. Get your winter overgrowth under control. But are they saying you need to trim your pubes for your family?
grandma's gonna be like, Jack, you're not turning up like last year. I was embarrassed to see your pubes looking like that, Jack.
Need to get the ball bag looking peng for Auntie Sylvia. Then it goes, you might even outshine your weird uncle. Like, I think if you're worrying about your family's view on your pubes, you are the weird uncle. The weird uncle's what got us into this mess.
Yeah, that is weird uncle behaviour. Show like you've just finished your turkey and then Uncle John gets out his pubes to show how neat they are.
Cousin Agnes is visiting from Vancouver. Better sort out my landing strip.
haven't seen her for 6 years.
Yeah, Ma, you've grown. Oh, you wait. You wait.
A lot has changed since the last time you visited. Yeah.
Is that mistletoe? Anyway, if you do want to expose your pubic hair to your entire family and get it looking real great, Manscaped do have various tools you can do that with. I personally am a fan of the Performance Package, which gives you, I think it gives you a lawnmower, a weed whacker, and I think there's something for your face as well, which hopefully is what they actually mean. And so, yeah, they've actually got a Black Friday sale on that lasts, I think, until mid-December. So everything on the site is 25% off. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you can get 20% off and free shipping when you use the code UPSHOT at manscaped.com. That is 20% off and free shipping with the code UPSHOT at manscaped.com. Join the 11 million men worldwide who are exposing themselves to their families this Christmas. And trust Manscaped to stay sharp. And then it says, because Santa isn't the only one who needs his sack well groomed this year. I don't want to think about Father Christmas in that context either. He's also like sort of a family member. Do you know what I mean?
He slides down the chimney with his pants off.
Anyway, I have actually tested the products and they're good stuff. So
yeah, did your grandma agree?
Yeah, Granddad gave it a thumbs up. Grandma had a stroke, but
moving on from that horrible image of us exposing ourselves to our relative. Actually, I've got another update from a family situation that is known for some dramatic moments. So it is a keeping up with the Kardashians update. So Mauro Icardi, the Galatasaray striker, and his wife Wanda Nara are finally divorcing. They're in the process of divorcing right now, and you know we've covered it time and again on this pod. Like their love life is extremely dramatic. There's a whole episode about it that we did, so check that out. But you know they're divorcing, so you think that finally the drama might be ending, but it turns out that this is just an excuse for more twists in the soap opera. So the Italian paper Corriere dello Sport, I'm probably pronounced that wrong, reported this week that Icardi is now dating his divorce lawyer.
of course he is.
Who, I mean, this story broke and they've got a picture of the divorce lawyer, and I have to say, it is the fittest divorce lawyer I've ever seen.
Fittest lawyer?
It's so her name's Angela Burgos. She's a Colombian divorce lawyer and mega babe. Which I don't know. I'm not sure of the process that Mauro Icardi went through when he was hiring his divorce lawyer, but I suspect it was slightly different to checking her bar exam results.
Exactly.
I'm wondering whether his like agent put together like a short list of the top divorce
Legal
lawyers.
eagles.
Yeah, the legal
It's her versus some like dusty chin stroking old man. He's
or Angela Burgos.
Yeah.
And he's gone for Angela, and according to Corriere dello Sport, they are now bonking.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say an item, but that's
I don't think they're an
meaningless
item,
in this world.
Yeah,
isn't she
so-
like? Didn't you say she's a sort of TV star as well?
Yeah, so I think back in Colombia, she is she hosts like some sort of legal reality program. I'm wondering if it's. I don't think it's quite like the Jerry Springer of
Judge
Colombia.
Judy.
It's more, yeah, Judge Judy. She's the Judge Judy of Colombia.
So this is like sort of like if OJ had hired Judge Judy. Admittedly, a more serious case.
Yeah,
And then banged her.
yeah. So
That program
I don't
sounds
know,
quite
it's-
good.
are you just saying that because she is?
Well, I mean, it helps, obviously,
yeah.
but
I wonder if this case will be covered on the show.
that would not
that would-
surprise me if they
yeah.
televised it. You sort of suspect with Wanda and Mauro that it's like, even now, it's like, do they really mean that they're divorcing, or is it actually
Is this just
like,
another episode?
Yeah, are they just trying to
soap
get at
opera?
each other? Like, he probably presumes that the way to get at Wanda is not to like, fight over custody for the children or like hit her on the like maintenance payments. It's like, I'm gonna shag my lawyer and really piss her off.
I mean, it's like something from a sitcom script, really, isn't it? Maybe it is. Maybe their entire life is scripted. But I love it anyway.
Yeah, good luck to the happy couple. What's her name? Angela
Angela. Oh
and,
gosh.
and Mauro.
Yeah. Looking forward to the court case.
Is this going to be like a public court case?
I don't know, because that would be mad if can you imagine at the end of the divorce when the judge does the judge slam his hammer,
hopefully,
and then Mauro just walks out hand in hand with this divorce lawyer.
Yeah, although like do you remember Jose Rodriguez? We did his episode. He sues his ex-wife, and then they leave court hand in hand, and everyone's like, "What?" I kind of picture it like
Gasps
this.
in the gallery.
And also knowing the Icardis, the judge will be again just like some really good-looking woman who like under her cloak is in suspenders inexplicably.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it. It's sort of taking on the quality of like a West End musical a bit. Do you know what I mean? You can picture the court scene.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Because a lot of people are saying there
that.
should be a Netflix series about the Icardis, but I actually think it's a musical because it's more silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of
Take that,
sitcom.
Lin-Manuel Miranda. This would be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we need is seedier West End musicals. I think that's what we're lacking.
Nottingham Forest. They've been having a really good season. Where are they now? About seventh, I think, but they were third for a little while. It's been a different story though for their East Midlands rivals, Leicester. So Steve Cooper, the manager, got sacked at the weekend after they lost 2-1 to Chelsea. So they're like 1 point above the relegation zone now. But I think that defeat must have been especially hard to take, considering Chelsea were managed by his predecessor Enzo Maresca, who left Leicester for Stamford Bridge in the summer. Although the players seemed to get over the defeat pretty quickly. So while Steve was on his way back to Leicester to collect his P45, the Leicester squad flew to Copenhagen to have their Christmas party. There was this pic of them all in fancy dress in the lobby of this hotel room. There's like Harry Winks is dressed as an Oompa Loompa, Daniel Iverson, the goalkeeper's Bob the Builder.
Who's the Teletubby?
It's Casey McAteer. Casey McAteer, of course.
Dressed as Poe.
He's Lala. He's
Oh,
Lala.
right. No, you Teletubbies.
Oh yeah, the yellow one. Come on. Yeah, it looks like a sort of uni sports club, like social sort of thing. And anyway, they had this night out and they ended up in a nightclub where somebody held up a sign saying "Enzo, I miss you."
Yeah.
As in Enzo Maresca, their former manager.
You can see in the video the sign, which I guess they requested. There's no way it wouldn't have been a Leicester player who asked for it. It's being held up by this hostess. It's just got like a blank expression. And then Winks, and I can't remember who it is with Winks, they're like holding bottles of Grey Goose, just like laughing at the sign, filming it.
Yeah. Well, I think apparently Harry Winks had fallen out with Steve Cooper, so he was pretty over the moon. They'd also...
It's a bit of a slap in the face for poor Steve then.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I'm not sure exactly when the news broke that he had been sacked. I think it was like a few hours after this party.
Yeah.
So either this video was very ominous for him, or the Leicester players knew that he was getting the chop and were absolutely mugging him off.
Yeah. Either way, I feel like they're mugging him off because they're holding up... It's almost worse if he hadn't been sacked and they're just holding up a sign being like, I miss our old manager.
Yeah, either way.
Also, it's just like they get to. It was their Christmas party, wasn't it? That's why, because it's quite random.
Yeah,
there in
to go to
Copenhagen.
Copenhagen. I think so. They've got Vestergaard and Christiansen. I think are both.
There's someone else as well. Yeah.
I think the backup goalkeeper Iversen as well. Of course. You know him.
Picture dressed as a Smurf. Yeah. You're right. It is very uni. The picture of them all.
Yeah.
Very sort of.
So
like
I think
pub
that,
crawl.
Yeah.
Bonnie Blue's gonna arrive in a bit and take a few of them out.
But I don't know. Apparently, so Steve had fallen out with Harry Winks and Vestergaard apparently, and Hamza Chowdhury. Right, I think he'd been banned from the training ground for.
Once you lose Hamza Chowdhury, you've lost the dressing room. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
It's quite a you don't often see players taunting their own managers at parties.
Yeah, I mean they must have known, I guess.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it was quite a ruthless sacking. Like, obviously, it's not been going well, but we're only 12 games in. He only joined in the summer.
Yeah,
they're not in the relegation zone. Did they buy that many players? The owners, I can't just pronounce the name off the top of my head, but they are not known for they're quite patient normally.
Yeah. It seems a bit premature, I think.
Well, once you know.
I don't really know.
Poor old Steve Cooper, who he looked so cheery in the summer. He definitely had Botox, which was probably helping because his skin was like uncreased and gleaming, which is not normally something I'd associate with Steve Cooper, but. Yeah, that glow up's not done much for him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll be, now that he's got a bit more spare time, maybe he'll be off to Turkey for a hair
get the old lid done. Yeah.
By the end, he's going to be an Adonis. But actually, Leicester aren't the only ones who are facing a bit of mutiny in their ranks. So, Brentford, I think of Brentford, they're sort of at the more sophisticated end of the football club spectrum. They've got pretty benign fans, very enlightened transfer policy. They're sort of like the Marks and Spencers of football clubs. But it's always been a bit of a mystery why their players seem to absolutely hate them. So, even Ivan Toney obviously was famously slagging them off for basically the whole time that he was there. Really just absolutely mugging them off. There was that video of him yelling "fuck Brentford" when he was on holiday. There was another video where somebody asked him who he played for, and he replied, "Nowhere exciting."
Yeah,
and
true. Unless you're into Kew Gardens.
And now the new signing, Fabio Carvalho's dad, has been giving them shit on Instagram. So Fabio only signed for Brentford in the summer. They paid 27.5 million for him, which seems like quite a lot. But he hasn't really had as much game time as he wanted, and he was dropped for their 0-0 draw against Everton at the weekend. And on the club's Insta post about the result, Fabio's dad commented in Portuguese saying, "Son, you need to get out of this club."
Presumably him and his dad have had that conversation before. That wouldn't be the first way he would say it to him, would it?
I presume so. I don't know.
He did delete it later, so...
Did he? Yeah. I don't know. Surely he would think that is going to be picked up on. I can't remember his name. His name is like Bruno Carvalho or something.
Yeah.
So people are going to put two and two together.
Yeah, I mean, was he... does he just really want him out? What's the deal with Carvalho? Because I was reading up on this online. So you guys had him at Fulham briefly.
Yeah.
He was looking like he was going to be a star for Liverpool.
He was amazing.
Hasn't worked out, obviously. At one point I heard he was going to Hull, which, okay, he's stayed in the Premier League, so he's done a bit better than that. But people kind of insinuating that he's like, personality-wise, a bit difficult.
Yeah, I don't know.
His dad is difficult.
His dad definitely is. I don't. Yeah, I like at Fulham. He was great. He was when he was breaking through, and he was 18, 19 or something, and he looked absolutely amazing.
Obviously, the context is very different for footballers, but like the thought of one of my parents being like, do you imagine that under an Upshot post, your mum just comes, "Zach, you need to get out of this job." Like, oh, mum.
Actually, speaking of players possibly trying to force moves, obviously Salah did that interview at the weekend where he said that he was more out than in at Liverpool. I think he's complaining that they haven't offered him a new contract, basically. But a story popped up that, it was a couple of years ago, Liverpool were toying with the idea of selling him. Was it last year?
Yeah,
even?
to Saudi.
To Saudi. And apparently Jurgen Klopp's plan was to sell Salah and replace him with Anthony.
Perfect. Job done. Yeah. See you at the Champions League final. Was that before Anthony had joined United? Yeah.
I guess it must have been.
He was just the sort of like quite raw, exciting Ajax winger.
Yeah.
And now he's Anthony. That would have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been.
Do you kind of think like
funny.
Arne Slot's doing quite a good job? Was Klopp that good?
Yeah.
Yeah, ask David Coote. The Salah thing is weird as well. Like,
Yeah.
surely they want to keep him.
Yeah. I mean,
And Van Dijk and Trent, but they all are going to be available to talk to other clubs in January. Like, why would you do that?
to be honest, I could see why they would have sold him last summer because Al Ittihad or one of the Saudi
200 million.
200 million. I thought it was
219.
150, yeah. So for that, like they could have just cashed in and bought 10 Fabio Carvalhos to sit on the bench.
But he is
and then
kind of
move
Salah's
to
kind
Hull.
of kind of the reason they're top of the league, isn't he? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean I think he's having like I saw some stats as like his second best season ever for Liverpool.
Yeah.
So
Trent is obviously batting his eyelids at Real Madrid. Let's talk of that move. And I read Michael Owen was being interviewed about it because he obviously did the same move. And he was like, oh yeah, Trent's got my number if he ever wants to discuss it. And then the interviewer asked Owen, what was it like playing with the Galacticos? He goes, everyone always asks me what was it like playing with the Galacticos. No one ever asks, what was it like playing with Michael Owen?
yeah, what was it like playing with the guy who was the best player in the world since the age of 7?
Fair question. He only played about 20 games for them as well. Didn't he? I mean, look, he was a really good player at the time.
Yeah.
Not knocking him.
So we're a week and a half on from the Mike Tyson fight. I know we said last week that we thought we had him finally out of our lives, but there is still sort of dragging on a little bit. Some people were saying that the fight was fixed. I don't know whether it was. Yeah.
Yeah, the weird thing is they're saying it was fixed to stop Tyson knocking out Jake Paul, but anyone who watched the fight would say it was the other way
Wasn't
around.
close, yeah.
But they were like, oh, he didn't throw any uppercuts. But that's probably because he's 58 and was blowing out of his arse after
I could
the second
see
round.
that they wanted the fight to last the full 8 rounds. So they just they told neither of them to knock out the other one.
Yeah, Jake
But
Paul has
anyway.
vehemently denied it's fixed. He said it's a crime under federal law. I would never do that.
Yeah. I mean, who knows?
Whatever.
But Georgian boxer Avtandil Kudsidze, who coincidentally is actually nicknamed the mini Mike Tyson. I mean, he's not that mini, but Kudsidze was released from jail for extortion in 2022, and he's currently plotting a comeback. And his story is just absolutely mental. So I wanted to go into it a little bit. So back in 2017, he was the holder of the WBO middleweight world title and was preparing to defend that against Billy Joe Saunders. But a month before the fight, the FBI swooped and arrested him on suspicion of being the chief enforcer for a guy called Razdan Shulaya, who is one of Russia's most powerful crime lords. So the two of them apparently knew each other from back in like the early 2000s when they hung out together in Tbilisi. But in 2010, Razdan, the crime lord, he was arrested after the head of a rival Tbilisi mafia clan, who also had links to the FSB, was shot by a sniper in Moscow. So Razdan, the crime lord, was briefly jailed, but then sort of inexplicably released, at which point he fled to New York and set up a new criminal enterprise in the Russian enclave in Brooklyn. You know, this I think it's called Little Odessa, I think it's called.
Yeah, it's like by Brighton Beach.
Yeah,
in the bottom
exactly.
of Brooklyn.
Yeah. So anyway, at this point, Kudsidze, the boxer, goes with him to New York and continues and starts working for him as an enforcer, basically. So they're running this like illegal poker den that Kudsidze is sort of like the hard man there. He also collects taxes from other criminals who are operating in the area. So there's CCTV of him going around like collecting bundles, like thousands of dollars of cash, and then beating the shit out of people who won't give it to him. He apparently was nicknamed Suicide by these like lower tier criminals because that was the only way out if you angered him.
God, you prefer that.
So
is this the boxer?
This is the boxer.
Oh,
The
right.
boxer is the enforcer of this
Right.
criminal
Meanwhile, he's world middleweight champion.
Yeah, so apparently the FBI sort of knew that this was going on, but they didn't have enough evidence to pin on him and like bring down this whole organization. So he was able to continue this like high level boxing career. Ended up, winning the WBO middleweight title. And meanwhile, so these things are sort of concurrently going on. His boxing career and the criminal enterprise that he's a part of is rapidly expanding. So they did everything from like extortion rackets, arms trafficking, contract killings, kidnappings, gun running. They apparently they specialized in chloroform robberies.
Really?
So just like chloroforming people and robbing them.
Wow. Old school.
And they
respect.
They also cooked up this scheme to defraud casino slot machines. So in 2014, they kidnapped a Las Vegas casino software engineer and got him to teach them about slot machine algorithms.
Poor guy.
Which poor guy, I'm just like imagining him like tied to a chair in some warehouse and they're just like beating him with iron bars and he's just like, do you know JavaScript? Just kidding. You're going to have to learn JavaScript before I can help you.
Teaching them database queries. This guy with like massive fingers that type two keys at once. I'm also picturing him just wandering around Silicon Valley with his like, you know how they all wear the t-shirt with like their tech company on it. And then someone just comes behind and just chloroforms it. Or are they like spiking his Huel or something?
Yeah, so I mean it's to me, defrauding a casino is a victimless crime.
Yeah, but what about the coder who you have to
the
enslave?
coder.
How long was he held captive?
I actually don't know. Hopefully not very long.
Did they get any money out of the slot machines?
I think they did manage to get their scheme up and running. The FBI report on it said that they turned casino slot machines into ATMs.
Oh, so they nailed it.
Yeah, which that's I prefer them doing that than kidnapping people and robbing them by using chloroform.
Yeah, it does sound like you needed the kidnap in order to do the slot machines.
Yeah, true.
What happened to our friend, the coder?
I think he's all right.
He's currently working on his new startup.
Yeah, I don't actually know. But I hope
best wishes
he's
to
all
him.
right. Yeah.
Hell.
You think you would think that they could probably just pay him.
Yeah, maybe they
get him
tried.
to-
and He
yeah.
wouldn't listen.
Yeah, that's when the chloroform comes in handy.
That is a truly terrifying
It
experience.
is, but
Yeah.
so obviously they got caught in the end, and you know they were doing all these pretty terrifying crimes, you know, extortion, chloroform robberies, but they ended up being caught when the gang stole a shipping container containing 4 tons of chocolate peanut butter cups.
Or Reese's.
Yeah, Reese's. Like, I'm not sure if it's
love those.
Reese's. Possibly a knockoff.
Other brands
brand.
are available.
So anyway, they stole this like shipping container with like 10 grand's worth of peanut butter cups, and were trying to sell it on, and turned out that the buyer that they found was an undercover FBI agent, who then arrested them.
So there was an FBI operation to protect chocolate butter cups.
Yeah, the coder was just like, could you not have stepped in before? Like they had been monitoring this gang for a while.
This guy's living in a 4-foot wide cell writing MySQL queries to defraud casinos.
But when they finally hijacked a lorry of
Yeah.
Reese's peanut butter cups, that was the final straw for the FBI.
Were they deliberately trying to steal chocolate butter cups, or was it like they were just nicking shipping containers and
I
they're
don't
like hoping
know.
to open it and it's loads of like a car or
Yeah.
like some cocaine and it's fucking Reese's Pieces. The fucking Hershey's boss.
Yeah. But that was what he got done for. Well, he got done for all the other stuff as well, but that was what they ended up getting caught for, and he got jailed for 10 years.
That feels like not enough.
Yeah. Well, he actually claimed to be, while he was in jail, he claimed to be the happiest inmate in jail because he was teaching daily boxing classes to 100 fellow prisoners.
Right.
So it was
And he's got a
it's
lot
time
of
to good
Reese's
use.
Buttercups to trade for other favours inside. You're basically loaded.
Yeah.
This is the boxer, right? Yeah,
This is the boxer, not the.
So he
not
got
the
10
criminal.
years.
Yeah, he was sentenced to 10 years. Didn't serve that. I forget exactly how long he did serve, but he was released in 2022, and he fought again last year, I think, and he's currently plotting more fights. So
Look forward to
good
watching.
Good to see his comeback.
Remember the name.
Remember the name.
Avante Beale.
I will not hear a bad word said against him. Because I do not want to be kidnapped with chloroform.
It'd be good if Reese's Buttercup like sponsored his shorts at the next fight.
Yeah. Actually, before we go, we mentioned a few weeks ago that Steven Gerrard's under a bit of pressure at Al Ettifaq, the team that he's managing in Saudi. Ettifaq. He's still there, but two of his assistant coaches have been sacked, and he's brought in an upshot favourite to replace him, and that is Michael Beale.
Oh yeah.
So listeners will remember Michael's last appearance on this podcast. So he was sacked by Sunderland back in February. He only did 63 days in charge there. He claimed that he was sacked, or he claimed that fans turned against him because they didn't like his London accent, which is possibly more to do with their disastrous results. But he was then accused of using a burner account to wade into debates about himself on Twitter. So there was this account called Player ID that had been defending him and also attacking. So this account had done a post attacking Sunderland's toxic fan base and saying that they'd struggle to replace the excellent Michael Beale. And that account was then traced back to a business venture by Michael Beale.
Oh yeah, like the account was originally named after.
Yeah, it was initially named something else. And there was this Reddit post that screenshotted all of those tweets, and there was a reply under it saying, "I don't think that's a burner account, just an honest fan who knows the truth." It was from an account called Michael Meal.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Well, so he's now Stevie
G's assistant in Saudi.
What could possibly go wrong? He managed Rangers at some point as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe after Gerrard.
Yeah, I think he was Gerrard's assistant at Rangers.
And then he took over,
and ended up, But yeah, looking
Now
forward
he's in
to him
Saudi.
shaping the narrative in Saudi.
Excellent. All right, I think that's all we got this week, isn't it? We are going to do some listeners' questions next week. We've already asked on Instagram and had a lot of excellent questions and some slightly weird ones, admittedly.
Yeah, some insults.
I swear there was one that was just asking like about our dick size. Welcome to the fucking internet.
You have to come to Christmas to find out.
But there were some good ones that we're definitely going to answer. And yeah, quite a lot of people asking about stories that we've been sued for that I just don't really think we can talk about. 'Cause that's sort of the point. But yeah, it has happened. But yeah, we'll do it next week. So if you'd like to send in a question, we'd love to hear from you. contact@upshot.email or at Upshot Towers on any social media platform. We'll see you on Tuesday where we are finally releasing Hulk Hogan, brother. We had to push it back because of I can't remember, so some stories came up that needed a pod. Ten Hag and Tyson. So yeah, our extremely well-timed Hulk Hogan election special is coming out. It's a really good one, actually. It's us and Roche, who loves Hulk Hogan so much she named her dog after him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so look out for that on Tuesday. Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks for listening.